Welcome again. Welcome back, everybody. Um, for those of you who were on the show earlier, welcome back. For those of you who are coming here just for this, welcome. Um, Andrea is having some small technical difficulties with her camera and her connection. So while she gets that figured out, she will be here. Choppy or not, we will get through this. Um, we'll talk about it being number 4 in the journey. 4, 3, something like that. Um, I do have a person for Friday, and I think I have a person for Wednesday. Not quite sure yet. But for those of you who have been keeping up with the Journey series, um, we all know it has been quite a monumental thing. A lot of the people that have participated in it are quite happy that they got to either share their struggle or their victory with you guys, and it's been really uh, enriching for them. So I want to thank you guys for giving your time and your patience to the people that do come on when they do. Um, as soon as Andrea gets her stuff together, we'll begin. But I wanted to go over a couple of things about the upcoming weeks. Um, like I said last time, there are not a whole lot of people that have signed up for this season. Um, there's still a lot of room on the table. Not really fighting anyone to do it, but if you feel led to, my email is straighttalkmb at uh, outlook.com. Straighttalkmb at outlook.com. Um, no, you don't have to have something traumatic happen to you. You don't have to have something extraordinary happen to you in your mind. Sometimes people want to hear that even if they think it's small, people have been through it. Um, not everyone has to go through something by the world standards that's world rocking for it to matter. For a lot of people, they go through things that they consider small, but they're quite impactful on them. So don't come in thinking that you have to have a massive story of some kind of a life altering testimony for you to count. Simple things are sometimes the ones that stand out the most. Okay, that's usually what you have to really look forward to. Appointment. Okay, good. So just understand that. Okay, you don't need to have something big. Be small. You overcame a divorce. Um, you fell out of college and then you fell away from God and you came back. Something doesn't have to be massive. It could be something very, very small. It doesn't really have to be in a lot of people's world. I went to prison for 10 years and I met the mafia king of the world and went to Timbuktu and came back. It doesn't have to be. There's no guarantee that this Journey Season Part 2 has to be something that takes place. I'm going by whatever God puts in front of me, and whatever He puts in front of me, I'm going to tackle. So if you're so led, pray about it. If you're not, so be it. Um, today's guest, however, you've seen her before on Fair Media. She has her own platform with Queen Bee. She has been through her share of hardship, um, and she'll be sharing whatever portion of her life she deems necessary to share today. Hopefully, she can be on here soon enough. I did say something about prison and the bomb. You don't have to go through something drastic like that for your story to matter, is what I'm saying. You don't have to be kidnapped by, El Chapo to have your story matter. You could have been kidnapped by 5-year-olds. Don't worry about it. So as we wait for her, if any of you have wanting to, we can talk about that now, and I can start plugging you in for the next one. But Friday, I have set up already. I just haven't made the show yet. So, not quite sure if she's going to be able to make it. We'll see. I'm going to give her another 5 minutes or so. No, that's just early morning, Brenda. Um, our cold season has already started here. Every winter, sinus hits bad here, so there's no prepping for it really. So I think she's ready.
Hi, everybody.
I think she got her problems figured out.
I had to go to a whole computer. Like, oh my goodness.
It's okay. At least she made it.
I made it. I'm still here though. I'm still standing with a smile. See the
There you
goal?
go. I'm still standing. Um, so I was gonna tell you about the format backstage, so I guess I'll just tell you here.
You tell me.
And I think it's okay. People know about it anyway. I'll give you a couple minutes to share your synopsis of your story. Whatever you feel like sharing, share. Um, you're not under any obligation to answer the questions I ask you. You feel free to answer them. I don't have anything written down to ask you. I'm just going to go based on what you say.
Okay.
And if, however, though, I ask a question that you didn't cover that I would not have known of, don't blame me. That's a God thing. I didn't do it. That's all I'm saying. I'm absolving myself of all responsibility for the questions I'm about to ask.
Okay.
Because as you can see, okay, nothing yet. I'm waiting for you to tell me what to ask.
Okay.
Okay, so you have a few minutes, maybe less than 2 minutes, to share your synopsis, and I'll be back.
Okay. My name is Andrea Braxton. I'm 42. Guys, I thought I was 43 until a couple weeks ago, till my brother said, "Girl, you was not 43." So I'm going through that too as well. I have four children. One is deceased. A lot of people know my story. You guys check out the story about Amaya Braxton. I've been married for over 20 years to Mr. Charles Braxton. Today is actually his birthday. I've been through a whole lot in my life. A whole lot from the age of about 10 up, I can truly say, to my adult life. Um, I still struggle with issues right now. I still struggle with, sometimes I struggle with just small things because I move myself along so fast. But through me going through life so fast, I learned a lot of knowledge about my own mistakes, and I was actually able to help other people, I feel like, avoid some of the same mistakes that I did. On October the 4th, Amaya died, and I was suicidal. And I was also at one point on medication because they had diagnosed me with bipolar. But what I did was I stopped taking my medicine. I want to show people that God is a healer. You don't have to have medicine if you really, 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 truly get a grip on God. And so that's what I did. And I was able to come off. I'm not telling y'all, Queen B ain't saying, Andrea's not saying stop taking your medication. I'm not saying that. But as for me, I just learned a different way. I just want to inspire others. I want to see people grow. I want to see the people come behind me, succeed me, and be great. That's just who I am. That's just what I believe in. This is what I stand for. And I'm really just a simple person. I'm just a simple person who's trying to get into heaven and who just want to love people and try to get as many people to go with me as I possibly can. And that's my story.
And you're sticking to it.
And I'm sticking to it.
Good. Stick on to it. Um, so we'll get to one of the topics you mentioned later, but there are two things I wanna touch on. Um, you mentioned two things. That you struggle with things, but you didn't go into details. What, in your mind, are the two biggest struggles you still have?
The doubt myself. And I still sometimes have self-esteem issues about if I'm good enough. I feel like a lot of times, Marlon, that people look over me and pick past me. My whole life, I felt like that. Even sometimes, I gotta be honest, sometimes even today, I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like the men that I come in contact with just on day to day, it just feels like they look down on me. It just feels like I will never be good enough. I even, me and my husband sometimes have to have this talk more, and I have to ask him, am I still good enough for you?
Hmm.
Because it's just different things that's going on in my mental. But all of it don't be me, of course. So don't think, hey, she's spazzing out. No, because sometimes things be done, things be said, and it just leaves me in a lot of doubt sometimes. And so I always doubt myself. I doubt my capabilities. A lot of times I second guess me. And that's one of the things that I really, really, really struggle with the most is I feel like I'm just not good enough.
Um, I want to pull that string a little bit. I don't want to unravel too much, but I want to pull at that string just a little bit. Um, do you find yourself doing an over comparison to others in order to compensate for that feeling?
No, because I don't consider myself competing with anybody. In all actuality, I know that there's only one me, and I know there's not too many people that you're gonna find like me. I know that I am a diamond in the rough, but sometimes I don't believe it. You get what I'm saying? I don't really have to compare it to anybody. I feel like I'm good enough by myself, but I don't compare myself to other people. I just doubt myself too much. I just doubt what I'm able and capable of doing.
Um, what do you think you're capable of doing?
I think I'm capable of changing the world. I think I'm capable of walking by a sick person and I tell them somebody's laying down on the ground. I I feel like I should be able to tell them to get up and they really do walk. I feel like that. I just feel like I would doubt myself before I even told them. I probably wouldn't even say it, even though I'm feeling like I should say it. Or you need to get up and walk, or you can be healed today. I want to do it, but I doubt myself.
So do you believe that that's something that you can do?
I believe that it starts with me. I believe I could change it. I just have to reprogram myself and reprogram my mind. Marlon, I just been mentally beat down so much. I
Hmm.
just don't know. Sometimes I just don't know. I just get beat down so much. People think because I smile a lot or I can crack jokes or I'm knowledgeable about certain things, and because I've helped and I've dealt with the passing of Amaya so well, according to some people, they don't see me when I'm at the house. They don't see me when I'm riding in my car. They don't see me when I'm on my knees praying. They don't see me when I'm just so disgusted. I just want to sometimes get in my car, drive off, and never come. Nobody sees that.
Hmm. Um, we'll get to something in a minute. I'm not smiling because I'm happy. I'm smiling because we have more in common than you think. Um,
Mhm.
suicidal. You said you were.
I was
Um, how often, when you were, did that play out in actual attempts?
4.
I'm only one behind you. I don't want to catch up, but I'm just saying I'm one behind you. Um, where was your mind during that time of the attempt? Because I want to check something here against what I've experienced to see if it's a what I'm like my if my theory is correct. What were you thinking the end result of doing that would achieve?
I just at the time when I was really going through that, as a lot of you guys know, I was about 15 when I had my first husband and a child. And he was sleeping around with other people and he actually got a couple babies. And so there was a big altercation between him and my dad. And I was caught in the middle of it. And so the only thing that I could think about is, my dad really don't want me here. He really don't want me here. Nobody really likes me. Everybody's talking about me because I'm married at 15. He wouldn't work, so we kept getting put out over and over and over again. Like, not to down the brother or nothing like that, even though I very well could and would be, in my rights to. I'm not going to, but you would think that he's working at this job. You dropped him off at this job. By the end of the day, he didn't call a ride to another job that you don't know anything about. So I was kept in the dark for the first 2 years, and everything just hit me at once. I found out stuff at once. And the only thing that I could think about is I'm just tired. Let's just get this over with. Nobody ain't gonna care anyway, and I'll be a lot better off. And that was my thought.
Hmm. Has that always been the mind, the thought process?
No, so my very last attempt was about 2 months before Amaya died. I'm thinking about 2 months, maybe a month, somewhere up in there between that time and when Amaya passed. And me and Mr. Braxton, we were going through a very, very, very hard time. I just couldn't deal with it. I just couldn't deal with the emotional things that me and him was trying to work out. Um, so I just decided that this is what I'm gonna do. He can have the house, he can have the kids. I'm done. I'm just tired of being emotional, beat down. I'm just tired of being hated. I literally felt like I was hated for a very long time. So I was just ready to end it. I was just ready to be done with it. I got tired of trying to worry about bills. I got tired of trying to worry about these kids. I just got tired of worrying about everybody. It was just time for me to do what I needed to do for me.
And what changed to stop the thought process from going there again, or has it gone there again? You just haven't gone fully there yet.
I have went there once or twice. I'm not gonna lie. Since the passing of Amaya, but what actually stopped me was when Amaya died, some things had left me that day. It's like I wasn't even thinking about that. Now I'm thinking about I got a whole nother fight on my hand, and I know I got to be alive to fight it. And it's like something just it just went away. It's like no more of this. And so when it comes back to me, I know it's just the devil representing the idea. He wants me to take the job back. He wants me to get back into that type of depression and sadness, because it comes at the most opportune times. I could just be riding in the car and some be like, hey, when you get back home, or on Tuesday, this is what's going to happen. Or it'd be some issue at work or something. And it would just come over. And then I just know it's just the devil. He's trying to give me back that old job. He's trying to get that. He, he wants me to end it because he knows how impactful I'll be to this world.
So, do you place the same level of importance of activity in terms of the God impact, devil impact on the suicidal mindset as you do on the I can change the world and heal people mindset?
I don't. I
So,
can't.
why do you think that is?
It just gets lost in between the two. I know I'm capable of it. I know I'm capable of it. But it just feels like every time I get ready to step up and go to the next level, it's always a stumbling block or a hindrance, or here comes some doubt, or here comes the reason why I can't do it. So I know I can change the world. I know I do. It's in my mind, it's in my heart sometimes, but when I get ready to make that leap forward, it just seems like I get pushed back 10 more feet just for no apparent reason.
So, the question really is this. So, you told me two different things here,
Mhm.
and in both locations, you seem to have a different view of the devil's ability in each of them. Like, he has almost zero power over you and your suicidal tendencies anymore.
Mhm.
But it seems that he has all the power over you stepping into your calling.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. This is how I would like to think of that. And
Mhm,
maybe I could come across a little bit better and cleaner. Some things you have control over. Okay.
mhm,
Some things you do. I have a control over if I put a gun to my head and blow my brains out. I have control over that. I
mhm.
have control over if I go and buy pills and take pills. My struggle sometimes is when I don't have the control and I don't know how to go over that obstacle. I don't know how to go around it. I can talk myself up, but it's like it's not gonna work.
Give me a
Um,
scenario.
okay, a scenario. Let's see. If I okay, so I could just use what I do every day. Okay, I
Mhm.
can use what I do every day. I can cut my computer on. True story. No problem. I can work on it all day. And until it's time for me to come and be positive to the world and let the world know who God is.
Mhm.
Stumbling blocks, stumbling blocks, stumbling blocks. By this time, you got the school saying this person ain't doing that. This person ain't doing that. Not only do you have that, you have people from the office that need you to do different things too. So I get so overwhelmed sometimes to where I just feel helpless. I do. I just feel helpless. Um, I've been trying to figure out a way to do it. I've been trying to figure out a way to, get myself through it. But everything that I have accomplished, everything that I have grown to do, I cannot necessarily say that I had emotional support to get me there.
Hmm.
Sometime, Martin, I'm just hanging in the wind, dangling by a thread. I feel like sometime. And I feel like sometime I'm gonna fall off of that thread. Or that thread gonna get tired of holding me and I'm gonna sink. I know it seems like there's a double standard here, but it's so hard to really relay what I go through on a regular basis. It's really hard to just relay it the way it is. I'm just telling you basically how I feel.
Um, it's not that difficult to relate because I know exactly what you're saying.
Mhm,
When I tell you like we have more in common than you think, it's not a hyperbole. I really I'm
mhm.
telling you that we have a whole lot more in common than you are. I think that you think we do. Um, I'll give you a synopsis, okay, of
Okay.
the how we're similar. And for a long time, this was true of me. Okay, um, I was the kind of person that was so shy. If we needed change for getting gas, my mother couldn't send me into the store to talk to the clerk to get the change. If someone came to the door, I could not be the one to answer the door. That was the level of my reservation for interacting with people.
Mm.
Okay, I carried that all the way through college. Um, got to college at 19. And I was known on campus as the guy with headphones and a sleeveless shirt. Now, mind you, I was only a buck 25, buck 30, okay, at 6'1". So I was a walking toothpick, okay? Wintertime, no sweater, no jacket, just a sleeveless fleece shirt and headphones because I wanted to ignore everybody. That was me. Um, and that's how I envisioned myself was that even though I might have wanted to say stuff to people, I didn't see myself as something that they would want to know. So I didn't put myself out there. And then when I finally started to come out of my shell and think, oh, maybe I should introduce myself to somebody, there was always something that's saying, but they may not want to know who you are. So don't even bother doing it. And I'd give into that. And that was me for years. Um, so to be where I'm at today, though, I cannot give myself credit for that whatsoever because
Yes.
I know in myself if it were up to me, I wouldn't be doing this. I, it just would not. No, nope, nope. I'd go back to that kid that didn't go into the store for the change. The reason I ask you if it's a matter of giving the power over to some other thought process, like the devil says he can't keep you from being suicide. He can't keep you from not being suicidal because he wants to get you into that mindset. But that you recognize him in, and you will not hand him over that power. But for some reason, you view it as yourself not wanting to, or stumbling blocks being the case when you can't get to do what you're called to do. It's like you take him and you call him something else in one thing, but not what he really is. You call him the devil when it comes to suicide, but you say it's a stumbling block when it's your calling. Why do you think that you remove his name and his impact and identifying him as the reason why you don't share and call it a stumbling block?
I don't know, Martin. That's a good thing. I never thought about it like that. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I've never thought about it like that. So,
Because
please.
it's him. It's obviously because okay, let's ask it like this. If God has a plan for you to do something for him
Mhm,
and something else pops up to stop that plan, normally the only person that wants to stop that plan is the devil.
mhm,
It's not God.
mhm,
And if I'm operating in my flesh, then that's obviously the devil. But I
mhm.
don't want to give, for some reason, we have a hard time, like you're doing, of giving a name to it so you can identify it and hand it over. The more I say, oh, it's just this one thing, I can't even identify it. It's a stumbling block. It's an issue here. The more we trivialize it, the less prone you are to actually get rid of it because you have no real identifier attached to it. Your calling, I can tell you from what I've seen about you. I can give you my breakdown of you, can't I? I'll give it anyway. It's my show.
Right, you're right. I'm just gonna sit here. I'm just gonna sit here, guys.
I'm just gonna give it to you. Give it to you. It's all in love. Okay, it's all in love. What I'm about to say, it's all in love. Um, the only person, the only person that is thinking the things you think about how people view you is you, and that's the only person thinking that, and it shows up in how you come across. That's the proof we have. Like when I first saw you on camera, right? And I mean the very first thing that hit my head is that she doesn't believe she can do this. She honestly doesn't believe she can do this. And Corey and I will have conversations backstage. It's like, why won't she believe it? Like she has all the keys right there. It's her. It's like she's made for this, but for some reason she won't step into it. And we're both like, we baffled. Like it's like I don't know. When she gets it, she gets it. You're the one that's keeping that mindset that people are thinking something or that you're not a. It's a you thing, and I'll tell you why it's a you thing, and how you keep it that way, because you're not identifying the problem as Satan keeping you from it. And as long as you don't identify him as a problem, he'll keep doing it and planting it on you. You keep telling you that, oh, you are thinking that you're not enough, or other people are thinking you're not enough, when he's the one telling you you're not enough. And that way you can't take it to God because there's no real way. This is my personality. I guess I'll just have to get over it. You're not even attributing it to anything particular. And that's what he wants you to do, is to not identify him. If he can stay in the shadows and just let you keep thinking this is I'm the one that thinks this way about me, or other people think that way about me, it's very hard to get out of that cycle, because how can you change somebody else's mind? You can't. Right? You can't change somebody else's mind. And if you think that it's an innate part of you, you're definitely not going to be able to change it then. Like you keep saying to me, I want to, but I just can't. Those were your words, like, I just can't do it, or I can't seem to do it. That in and of itself is telling yourself that you can't do it, but you're not realizing that the devil is making you believe that. And as long as he makes you know that it's of you, you can't take it to God. Now, what? Okay, so let me ask a question then.
Okay.
How do you go about asking God to get the fortitude to do the things you have to do when he pushes you to do it?
Well, I just want to say this. Everything, and now this is me, and I'm glad we're having this conversation.
Mhm.
But everything bad or every doubt that I may have, I don't necessarily say that would necessarily come from the devil.
Mhm.
I think as Christians, or as believers, I think we actually do give the devil too much credit.
Mhm. Do
Some
we?
things, some doubts and some things that we have is just from, or some doubts and things that I have experienced. It literally comes from people telling me my
Mhm.
whole life that I wasn't going to amount to anything.
Right.
At 11 years old, 12 years old, if you getting hit with racks and curtain rods and you getting slapped in your face or left hook, because my daddy get hit pretty hard. And the only thing that you hear is, I hate you. You're never going to be good enough. I get glad when you move out. That stuff stays with you. It's not
Right.
necessarily about now, some of it I could say, yeah, the devil do be on me sometimes. But sometimes it's just, I need to really have an opportunity in the atmosphere to clean out myself. I need a safe atmosphere to really be able to cry out. And a lot of times I don't do that for my own self, is because I don't always have the safe, supportive environment. So yes, that is the part of the reason why. But can I still talk to God about it? I do. I do. And God is helping me. And He's putting people in my life like you and some other people at my job who, would come and who would say nice things. But Marlon, if you guys knew that I was having a problem with that, I wish that you would have reach out to me And because I admire you so much, and just because of what you do, and because you're smart, and because you can help a lot of people, I wish you guys would have just reached out to me sooner and wrap me up with love, and tell me I got your back, and I'm not gonna let you, talking in the back behind a show.
Hmm.
That's good. You two know, but I'm your sister. And I'm not saying this to be ugly, but if you realize that I was having that problem, and if you can see it, then the people that's here can see it too.
Hmm.
I never even knew that I was giving off that image. Look how many shows I've done, and nobody has ever said anything. So now, since you said that, it gives me an opportunity now to get back down on my knees. It gives
Hmm.
me an opportunity now to cry out for deliverance.
Well, I have told you this before, and I don't know if you remember, but like I said, when you're in that headspace of it's me, even when somebody tries to encourage you, you don't see the encouragement. And I was privy twice to a conversation you had with the other bald guy. And he's done that. But like what I said, you have okay. You said you can't. We give the devil too much credit. Um, so let me ask you a question. Um, who was Adam and Eve before the fall?
They were God's children. They were perfect.
Perfect, right?
Hmm.
So anything after the fall happened because of who?
It happened because they sinned against God.
But who was the linchpin behind it?
Oh, the serpent,
And that was who?
the devil.
Okay. Okay. So anything after the fall, including hate by parents, hate by friends, abuse, everything is linked to him because it's obviously not linked to God.
Hmm.
So if it's not linked to God, it's not like we're blaming the devil, but it is part of his nature.
Hmm.
And people who are participating in his nature are exemplifying the devil. So yes, you can identify it as the devil. Now you can't say, "Oh yeah, the devil made me do it," but he is definitely the 100% influencer in all that your
Oh
decisions
yeah,
that you
now he
make.
get with you on that. Now
Okay,
he can influence some
so
things.
there
Now he
you
can
go.
say some
Which is why
things.
I'm
Yeah.
saying he's not too much power. You're attributing to him what is his. Evil is his. What depression is his. Suicidal thoughts is his. Anger is. All
Hmm.
of those things are his.
Hmm.
So I'm not giving him more power. I am identifying him by his attributes in my
Hmm.
life.
Hmm.
So for me to say that I'm blaming that yeah, you straight up he is the one to blame. It's his that's him. That's his personality. It's no different than me blaming God for something that goes right
Yeah.
because he's the author of all things good, right? So when I attribute something to God that goes right, it's just not out of his purview. Um, as far as coming to you on an encouragement basis, I also realize that you are a married woman.
Hmm.
Right. I leave a lot of that encouragement to be done by your hubby. I may send one or two things out your way, which I have. And like I said, it may not have been received as such, but I don't go out of my way to do that simply because I leave that to the other half of your equation. Because I'm not privy to your home, I'm not also going to intrude on that situation. But I'll tell you this much, okay? I also like to leave room for people to see their own growth happen for themselves.
Hmm.
I'm really glad that you offered to be on the show for this very particular reason. Okay, for this reason, um, your when you talk about your daughter and how you made it through and how some people see it as strength and blah 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 blah. I'm amazed that you can attribute, and I understand why you attribute your getting out of that dark hole to God. Um, and most people can't. I didn't for a long time. When my pops passed, it took me 30 years to get over that. Yours is not that far removed. But 30 years is how long it took me to not be pissed off at God. Okay.
Hmm.
That is okay. How separated from God do you need to be to call it separation?
I don't never would. I would never want to think that I would ever be separated from God.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad you said that.
Okay.
I'm really glad you said that. Because every time you give power to the other guy, in essence, you're creating separation
Okay, well, that's a good
because
point.
you're not giving God the strength that He actually has. You're not giving merit, I should say, to the strength He actually possesses. Case in point, you come up to one day where you say, "Okay, I give you the scenario where you see you pass by somebody on the street and you say, get up
Mhm,
and walk." Okay, that's the first thing He tells you to say.
mhm,
He puts it on you to say, "Get
mhm,
up and walk."
mhm.
You decide because of the fear, and because He said He did not give you a spirit of.
That's right.
Okay, so obviously, if you feel afraid, right off the top, you know who's behind that. Okay,
Mhm.
He say, "Tell him," and you be like, "I don't know if I can." The instant that happens, you don't apply the same strength you found with your daughter to that situation,
That's true.
even though you know that strength exists and have experienced it firsthand. So the
Mhm.
question then remains: do you need somebody else to remind you of a strength that's not yours?
Um, really, actually, to be honest, sometimes you do.
I mean,
Sometimes you
the one that
do.
he talked to you about.
Do what now?
He
Say that
talked to,
again.
okay, the God of the universe, spoke to you
Mhm,
directly about something he wanted you to do.
mhm,
He talked to you,
mhm,
not somebody else. He talked to you.
mhm.
You need somebody outside of God a second time to tell you about something that God himself told you.
Well, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Now, if you hear it and if you choose not to do it, that's on you. But a lot of times, oftentimes, we see things and we don't really know. So he will send people. Sometimes he will send somebody away to affirm what he's already told you.
Okay, but we're not
That's
talking about in that situation. We're talking one very
I
specific
mean,
situation. One very specific situation that you mentioned. You said you'd walk by somebody and he's tell you to tell that person
mhm,
to get up and walk.
mhm.
Do you need another person, a man, to convince you that that happened, that he did tell you to do it?
No, I should not. And I'm gonna be in trouble for that. So
Massive,
Lord
massive.
forgive me. Like for real, like
Okay.
Lord forgive me. Like I don't want to go down there,
Okay. So
like
here's a,
for
here
real.
here's and that's so then it's a
Yeah.
perspective change.
Yes.
It's a perspective change. I don't think it's, and that's why he said no man, let no man teach you. It's not about the man. It's not about him bringing confirmation from a man.
Mhm.
Yes, sometimes he'll confirm, but a lot of the times he will keep telling you to do
Mhm.
something,
He will.
and he will keep telling you. He'll keep telling you and keep telling you and keep telling you.
Mhm. It's true.
Your entire walk has been culminated in the event that happened with your child, and I'll tell you why that is. An event that monumental to normal people who are not chosen for something bigger would kill them, literally end them, like end them fully. Having gone through what you've gone through in life, that would have been the nail, the coffin, the lid, the dirt, and the hole all in one.
Mhm.
That would have done it. But what he was trying to tell you in that moment of relieving you of that anguish was this: your entire life built you to handle that. Everything that
Yeah,
you went through, all the dark that you went through, built you for that event.
it did.
Um,
It did.
so he is now putting you in position, though, to spread that exact same strength that he gave you, to make it seen to others, which is why he put you here. It is not your personality. It is not the ability to speak or not speak. It's not your humor or your lack of humor. Not the background that you have. None of that matters, because here's what that really matters: the work he did is undeniable.
Mhm,
And the people that will see the work exemplified through you will
mhm,
be touched. And who doesn't get touched doesn't get touched.
mhm,
But you can't be concerned about the view people have. He has called you, Andrea
mhm,
Braxton. He has
mhm,
called you to speak for him.
mhm.
And when he's done that, your job, your only job is to do it.
It's true.
The excuses of but I know and but but it's me and I have to and I struggle. The more you say that, the more you nullify the strength he has. Is anything a struggle for God?
No, nothing,
So
nothing,
therefore
nothing.
you can't struggle. Therefore you ought not struggle. Because if he's doing it, there is no struggle. If he told you to do it, he's already put you in position to do it. Um, did you ever think you'd be this far ahead emotionally after the death of Amaya?
I did. Actually, the next day, I was Amaya's story and her death. It didn't take. I didn't go through it like everybody else went through it. I guess I felt like from the whole time, from the night I got home to the next day, to when hundreds of people showing up at my door, the only thing that I knew is that I really love God and I was so in love with Him. I can't even explain it. It was like I was
Hmm.
in this bubble, and while everybody is falling out and passing out, at
You're
the
fine.
funeral, I'm up raising my hand and worshiping God. It's just so hard to really explain what He did for me with that particular subject. It's
Hmm.
like I prepared, I told you it was going to happen, because actually, a lot of people in my husband's family have lost children. And all of them had been boys. So I knew it was a possibility that I might lose one of my children. Actually, he asked me, well, what make you think this won't happen to you? This was about 2 or 3 months before it happened. And I began to go in prayer. So I started praying for my boys, and I left my girls uncovered. I left my girl uncovered. But when he took her, it was just this peace that I can't even explain it. But as you said, I've always said, from when they attacked me in the house, to the abuse from my father, to the abuse from my family members, my grandmother's friends, the school, it was it just got me to that moment. But Marlon, when you own this high, and once you really get past it, because if we ever get justice for Maya or not, I don't know. It's been my fight. But even in my fight, I find myself not wanting to fight so much,
Hmm.
so hard. And there's other things I got to fight for. So even though I said I doubt myself, I do. I do. But some kind of way, when I open my mouth sometime, even though I'm not telling people to get up and walk, even though I know I should be, in my casual conversation, he just comes out and take over, just to random people. It's like I don't even have control over myself sometimes when I'm
Good.
out just doing normal things. It's just so hard to explain, but you are right. When he tells me to do something, I have to be obedient to him in order to see his full glory on my life. But there's hindrances, secret plants. People don't believe it, but the devil got plants around you. There's secret plants that's around us sometimes that just comes out at the most opportune time, and you don't even know they plants. Only thing you know is you think it's a good person, that person hurts you. Excuse me, coming from so much hurt, Marlon, to be honest with you, I knew I was going to be okay with Amaya. But the other things, and I know people going to say, well, how can she say that's a child? It's the other things. God, the Bible says it's the small foxes
That's
that
I was just
destroy the vine.
okay. So you want
Yeah. So go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was just thinking that exact same thing. So it's that exact verse. I was gonna bring it up, but I thought I'll wait. Um, Solomon said that, "Catch for me the little foxes that ruin the vine."
Yes.
Um, but that's what he said. He didn't say to notify them or see them. He said to catch them. What you've been allowing to do though is to see. You see the fox,
Mhm.
and you're seeing the damage it does, but you're like, ah, it's a fox,
Yeah, it's a fox.
and it's a stumbling block.
Yeah.
You're not catching them.
Yeah.
That verse is in your head, but you don't catch the foxes.
Okay, so
Because what eventually will happen is that your vines will get time to grow once you catch the fox. Saying that I have a stumbling block or I have a fox.
mhm,
That's not it's not the same as catching it.
mhm.
There's some more hands-on work that needs to be done. Now, you may not be able to catch the fox because you're not quick enough, but there are such a thing as fox catchers. That's exactly what God is. He's a fox catcher. And you can easily say, identify the fox, which is why I tell you to identify it as who it is. And you sick the fox catcher on him. And that means taking it to God, saying, okay, I know exactly where that fox is. I know where the den is. I know what times it pops out at. I know its routine. There he is. And you hand it off. Now, the next time, you won't see that fox because he's a very efficient fox catcher. You have such an amazing story, and it's not even about the death. It's not. I mean, that's a law story. That's the part of the system story. Your story, though, is one of how God can work in even the most unlit places in your life. Remember in Psalms, he says, where can I go from your spirit? If I ride on the wings of dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, if I go to the depths of the earth, even there. And if anyone has been cave diving, I don't do that thing because I'm meant to be on the
Me too.
walking.
Right.
The same way I don't swim because I was in amniotic fluid
Yeah.
before and I broke free. That means he
Yeah.
ain't asking me to do that no more. Um, that's fact. That if I go into where the most dark, desolate, wet, damp, remote location could possibly be, as long as I know who he is, I have to understand he can find me even there, which means that there is nothing that can stop me from fulfilling what he wants me to do because he can reach me even up. When Peter, and I love Peter's story in more than one way, because he has multiple points in his walk where he was just an absolute knucklehead,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then there's some places where if you step to Peter wrong about God, he light you up, right? So he found his voice in talking about God, but then when it came to defending God, he couldn't. So in the public eye, he was very boisterous, but in his own walk, he had lacked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
When he was coming out the boat, he was the first of all of them in the boat to say, call me, I'll come,
I'll go.
right?
Yeah.
Quick to talk. And as soon as he stepped out and he was walking just fine and he started to look away at the little foxes,
Mm.
but he wouldn't identify it. He started to take his eye fully off and he could have looked down and looked right back up and I could have continued walking. He looked down and didn't look back up.
Mm-hmm.
And the sinking started to happen. It may not be as monumental as as your daughter going away,
Mm-hmm.
but you can allow these little incidences of him asking you to do something and you not doing it to become
Mm-hmm.
bigger than
Yes,
that,
that's true.
and that is a problem. Um, Not saying it's a kind of problem that you can't overcome, because nothing's impossible for God. But He needs you to identify them for what they are. It's not just a stumbling block.
Mm.
It can become a permanent problem and hence rob you of your joy, not happiness, your joy in God.
Mhm.
Um, I honestly believe that the calling you have is unlike any of the ones in the Fair Media group, um, because of this one reason. The people who have lost much have usually the most to offer, especially
Mm.
when they've lost a lot and found God in replacement of it.
Mm-hmm.
You were asking before about direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think you talked to us backstage about direction. And where do you go? You need a place. You need somewhere. You need to know where to
Mm-hmm.
direct your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I think He's answered that for me today for you.
Oh.
Okay. Um, you are called to speak to broken people,
Mm-hmm.
not to speak on crazy, world related, superficial things. He wants you to dig into that place that you've been calling humor,
Mm-hmm.
um, and really address things that happen to you for other people.
Mm.
Um, It's not to rehash it, because he delivered you from it.
Mhm.
You're living a delivered life right now,
Mhm.
and he wants you to express to people how to live that exact same delivered life in spite of and
Mhm.
because of going through the things you have gone through. You
Mhm.
want a direction? Here's the direction. You're supposed to tell people to get up and walk.
Mhm.
Period. Your direction is to assist people to get out of the rut, which is why you struggle so much with trying to get out of that one rut of talking. This is
Mhm.
why the devil doesn't want you talking. This is why. It's not because, oh, I need to share. This is way bigger than that.
Mhm.
He has called you specifically, because of all the pain, all the abuse, all the verbal bashing, the loss of a child, the family problems, the spousal problems, the children, all of it, to help people out of that exact same situation that you were in. Not the news, not not the fickle things, not these things, not the foxes. You've been going after doing exactly what the foxes do. He's calling you to help the kingdom of hurt people, because you are one, and you've made it to this place where God is it for you.
Mhm. Yes, he is.
There is that one spot that he wants highlighted for you, and you've been running from it. You can admit that much. You've been running from it, and the reason you're running from it is because you knowingly do not have the thought process that he's going to supply you for what's coming. When he sent Moses to talk to Pharaoh, Moses was you. Well, no, man, I can't talk to Pharaoh. Like, come on, man. Like, you want me to talk to, bro? Come on, man. Like, you're going to talk to Pharaoh, and not just talk to Pharaoh. You're going to call down all kinds of curses on Pharaoh to the point where he has no choice but to let my people go. That's how much power he gave Moses to call curses down on Pharaoh. You are given that same mantle. You're hurt. He
Mhm.
broke you free. People hurt you. He broke you free. You
Mhm.
lost almost everything. He brought it back. He
Yeah.
gave you a Job story, a
Yeah.
Moses story, and a Peter story in one lifetime. That is big.
I've never thought of that. I've like never ever thought of that, Marlon. I've never ever. And it's so funny that you said that because 2 hours before Maya got killed, I was riding home. I never will forget this. And I said, "Yet though he slay me, yet will I trust him." I
Trusted him. Yeah.
said that. And then I said, Dev, I said, I don't know what you're doing with my finances. I don't know what you're trying to do in my marriage. I said, but bring on your best shot. I said, because I will never turn my back on God. And 2 hours and a half later, my daughter was dead in my driveway. So I guess that's another reason why I took it the way I handled it the way I did.
Keep in touch.
Because once I made that declaration, he went to God and said, "Hey, you see what she just told me? See if she'll stand on it." I just feel like that. I feel like the devil always challenged me. I do in some areas, but sometimes people are just evil around me sometimes, and I just get away from them. And it's so amazing that even though I don't consider myself to be anything of little value, sometimes I do. Um, I still get that joy out of talking to people, and I talk to people about God, even on my pod. It could be we could be talking about anything on the podcast, and it goes back to God and how to live for Him.
There's a reason.
And I've tried to leave it alone. I try not to even
You
talk
can't.
about it.
You
Sometimes
can't.
it just comes out.
You can't. You can't because he doesn't want you to.
So
He doesn't want you to.
yes.
It's the same thing. Okay, like when you know it's about Too Strong.
Mhm.
We started off wanting to tackle one topic only. And then he stepped in. He's like, nope, nope, you're not. Every episode, he'd bring us back to him. For some reason, he kept showing up in the conversation like, bro, we didn't, this isn't about you, man. I don't know what you. every time. And then the third time he did it, it finally did that. We ain't supposed to be talking about this. The very next day, he solidified it again. We're not supposed to be talking about it. There's a reason why he keeps dragging that as part of the conversation, because that is supposed to be the conversation.
That's true.
Nothing else. That's the conversation. There are people that will come to listen to you because your delivery is what's going to bring them. There are some people that listen to you that will never listen to me. They will never listen to Corey, never listen to Neil, never listen to Royal. They will listen to you. And he has those people waiting to hear from you about him. And the longer you delay, the less time they have. That's the urgency. Um,
It's
I
scary.
it is scary, but it's an awesome. Like, think about it this way. Instead of thinking of it scary, think of it this way. There is an audience in heaven. Okay,
Hmm.
God is sitting there in his throne, sitting back, and he sees some people that he wants to reach. They need to know it, and Jesus steps up and says, "I have the perfect person for that." She's a little unsure, but we can work past that. And he puts his hand backwards and he told you to walk forward. And he presents you to the courts of heaven. She's the one I'm sending. That's not fear. That's an honor.
Hmm.
That's what you call honor. There are people that will listen to only you speak of your relationship with God and get it. It's not so much they will get you, they will finally see a God for the first time, because they may not hear it a different way. The same way there were various types of apostles. There are some people that listen to John the Baptist that would never listen to Paul, and they would
Hmm.
never listen to Peter. Some would listen to Peter, but they won't listen to John.
Hmm.
Some will listen to Matthew, because they all had a different type of delivery, because they each went through something completely different. Paul would have spoken about his blinding on the road to Damascus. They would have talked about that. You and your journey is beginning with understanding that he called you for this. And your job is to say, "Here am I, send me." It's that simple. And the same way he prepared Moses, he prepares you. The same way he told Peter, after all of that, go and encourage your brothers, he told to you. The same way he rewarded Job after all the losses, he has in store for you. But all of that comes with the recognition that they all came to. You are Jesus, the Son of God. Peter came to that recognition. Moses came to the recognition that who God was. And Job came to the recognition of who he was before God. He called you in 3 different lifetimes, in one lifetime. He gave you 3 different men's stories throughout the Bible to live out in one. And that is an honor.
So,
You have before you now, the options of giving the devil that ground or relinquishing it to God and doing what he said. I do want to tell you this. Time is short.
it is.
Time is short. There's no coincidence that you had to not giving myself any credit on this. Is not me. Like I said, I don't know anything what I'm going to say before I say it. That's not, which is why this kind of stuff is always draining on me, because I know for a fact I don't say the stuff that I'm wanting to say. Um, but he's wanting to know time is short. All the time you wasted before, it's not counted against, but it's lost time,
Mhm.
and it's crunch time now, fourth quarter, and a lot of us are behind in the scoreboards,
Yeah.
and we have to bring our number one players out to start shooting, um, and that's you. No one else can do what you are assigned to do,
It's
and
true.
so you have to start doing it. Um,
I do.
I want to thank you for sharing. because here's the thing: this may not have been
I
about
see.
you. This may not have been about you sharing, but I think he wanted you to get this point today, because you have to admit you've been asking,
Yeah.
and
I have.
when you ask, he answers.
Mhm.
Um, your calling is sure. You wanted confirmation. Here's your confirmation. The fear, he doesn't give you that. That's not of him.
Mhm.
Um, the power that you need is not yours anyway. It's his.
Mhm.
So you don't have that excuse that you can't do it. And the audience is not yours to procure. He has it ready. You got no work to do, Andrea. He's doing all of it. He's just using you as the vessel.
True.
So be the vessel.
Yes, sir.
Be the vessel. Um,
Mhm.
thank you for being on today.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
I look forward to you doing what he has called you to do. I'm really, really, really now looking forward to your new venture, because I think it'll be amazing. I
Yes,
think
sir.
the field is wide open, and there are tons of people that will come to hear, away from getting out of the places that you were once in. Um,
Well,
hopefully, we'll talk again later today. But I wish you the best day
yes.
possible.
Yes, thank
Um,
you.
God bless you.
Thank
Um,
you.
but the rest of the people in the audience, I don't think I have any more shows today. I hope not. Uh, I'm trained. Um, either way, I'll be back tonight with Corey on Too Strong.
Yes.
All right, you already had your show this morning, right?
I did. We talked about should Christians celebrate Halloween.
Well, that's a good
And
one.
we also talked about the stampede in Korea. Did you hear about that,
I did.
Marlon?
I've been seeing videos of it all over TikTok.
Yes. It got
That's
a
what
little
you get for playing
emotional
with
for
bulls.
me. Yeah. I mean, you cannot play with the devil. I
I'm
mean, you
sorry,
can't
man.
play with him. Can't play
Mm-mm.
with him. He wins every time if you play
That's
with him.
bail, bro. That's bail. I'm good. I'll eat it,
Mhm.
but I ain't gonna play with it. I'm good. But anyway, for the rest of you in the audience, thank you for being in here, being for support,
Yes.
Andrea.
Thank you.
And we look forward to your journey, the
Yes,
future.
me too. Thanks.
As I always say, wisdom calls to you from the street, people. Please, please, please find wisdom. Peace.
Hold tight the dreams, for if dreams die, rely on yourself and